Hello everyone, my name is Slips and today I'll be doing a plugin installation tutorial on PermissionsGS, a new premium plugin that I have listed up on the Spigot Premium Plugins page. This is it here, and PermissionsGS is essentially a multi-user group synchronization utility for bungee cord networks, and that's just a fancy way of saying it makes user groups work on all servers and synchronizes them. So if you want to, you can check this out here, but I will be showing you how to install it. There are also instructions here on the Spigot page. There is a link down in the description to those. And the entire PermissionsGS command reference is also here too, which is really cool. And, you know, there's a lot of functionality there. So, we're going to be installing PermissionsGS. If you want a tutorial on how to use PermissionsGS, you should see a little box appear around here now, and that should pretty much outline everything you need to basically use PermissionsGS in your bungee cord network. So first, what we're going to need is a bungee cord network. If you don't know how to set one of these up, there are plenty of good YouTube videos out there that teach you how to do so. But I'm just going to be using two servers, a bungee cord server and a Spigot server that is bungee cord enabled. So that's all set up as I have told you. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our plugins directory, and I'm just going to delete that because that'll be automatic. To install PermissionsGS Bungee, we must first drop the PermissionsGS server into the plugins directory, and we need to drop SQ library bungee cord. Now, you don't need to worry about inserting any MySQL credentials or anything. SQ library is entirely file based, so you don't need to worry about setting up any MySQL credentials. So once that's done, we're going to be starting up our bungee cord server. Now I'm going to be using Minecraft Manager, which is another premium standalone software for basically managing networks on a Windows environment or a GUI based environment. And as we can see here, where is it? PermissionsGS version 1.0.0 beta has been successfully enabled, and our folder has been generated here with our users database and our config. So we already know that everything's working fine. You shouldn't need to do any additional work on the PermissionsGS bungee cord server, although we will go back to that later. The next thing we need to do is install PermissionsGS client on our Minecraft server. So we go to our PermissionsGS Minecraft folder, and we're going to go to the plugins directory, and we're going to install PermissionsGS client, and we're also going to install Vault. Now Vault is going to be used as a compatibility tool for, you know, extending the range of compatibility plugins that utilize PermissionsGS and can use permissions by PermissionsGS. Currently PermissionsGS supports Essentials permissions, Vault permissions, and Bukkit permissions. Although if you have a permissions provider you would like to implement, just put a message in the comments below or add a comment on the Spigot page. We're then going to start up our PermissionsGS Minecraft server. And you should get a message up the top here saying, where is it? Should get a message up the top here saying, thank you for installing PermissionsGS. Please set your relative server ID in the PermissionsGS config file and restart. So we can do that by going to our PermissionsGS plugin folder, config.yml, okay, so this is the configuration you will be presented with. Here is where we can set up our server ID. Now this server ID is your bungee cord server ID. So for example, if this was your hub server and in your bungee cord servers configuration that server was registered as hub, you would type hub here. So I've called mine development. So I'm just going to enter development here, and I'm going to save that. The next thing that we must do is we must restart our server. So I'm going to shut that down, and I'm just going to start it back up. Okay, now that that's installed, you should see something along the lines of connection from your server has been established and connection has been authenticated. So that means we're pretty much ready to go. If we want, we can now set up our users and groups on the Bukkit network. So to do that, we can go to PermissionsGS, PermissionsGS Bungee, plugins, PermissionsGS again, sorry. And we've got a config.yml here. So this is the configuration for our Bukkit network. Now, this is where all permissions are going to be stored, including the individual server permissions. This is utilized by the PermissionsGS dedicated server. So the first thing that you'll notice is that all of our groups are listed under the groups directory here. Now this is where we list all of our groups. So first we have a default group of survivor. Now this is a generated groups config, but feel free to edit it to your liking. So first we have our permissions. Now these are global permissions inherited by the Bukkit server and all servers on the PermissionsGS network. If you want to add individual server permissions, you can add them here. So I'm going to add an individual server permission called development. Called essentials.fly for the server development. So that means that when we're on the server development, any person in the group survivor or any person in a group that inherits the group survivor, so if I click on that, you can see survivors inherited by builder, will have access to this essentials.fly permission. The next thing that we can do is we can also set up our inheritance, which we're going to have none since this is the default group, and we can also set up a prefix. So I'm just going to quickly add a prefix of and6 and e survivor and 6, and we can also set the name of the color of our name as well. So I'm just going to set that to B for now and save. So I've modified our groups file. We actually then have to push all of those changes out to all the servers, and that's really easy to do. We can go to our Bukkit server and we just need to type gs load. Server configuration has been reloaded. If any, all errors, if any, have been logged in console. No errors, so we know that our config's fine. That's cool. So we can actually go onto our Bukkit server, and you'll see that if I see something in chat, you can see it's applied my prefix. And if I try and use the permission fly, I'm able to fly, which is cool. So now let's just disable that. So we're just going to turn off fly, and we're just going to modify our configuration one more time. We're just going to clear that server permission and do another gs load. There we go, all changes have been pushed to the servers. And now if I try to use the fly permission, I do not have access to that command. So once again, if you want to see the how to use PermissionsGS, I've covered a tutorial on that, and that should be available by the time this video is uploaded. Links are down in the description for everything you need, from Vault through to bungee cord to, I don't know, might even chuck a bungee cord setup tutorial in there. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one.